Hi, welcome to this first video in a mini series on how to sew. It's for people that don't own a sewing machine and don't know any technical jargon to do with sewing. In this first video I'll be looking at how to thread the needle, how to start a stitch and how to finish a stitch. Okay, so this is the thread I use. It's worth splashing out a little bit on thread. This is a Gutterman thread. It's worth splashing out a little bit on thread because you get the really cheap ones for like 60p per 100 meters and they're awful, and then when you wash your garment for the first time the thread goes all weird, ruins the whole piece of clothing. This Gutterman thread is still really cheap. It's like £1.50 or £2 per 100 meters, so it's still really cheap, but it's worth getting. Coates Moon thread I think is similarly priced and it's just as good as well. Okay, so first off, to start our stitch what we do is thread the needle. And then what I do, you don't have to do this, some people don't do it, is loop it around twice. Which is really fiddly. And then you've got it on your needle. And then what we always do, as soon as we cut our thread, is we put a knot on the end of it. So you want to put it on your index finger, hold it with your thumb, and then roll it off the thumb, grab it with your middle finger and pull it, and you'll have a knot. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like again. Put it on your index finger, hold it with your thumb, hold it there like that, roll it off, and then grab that with your middle finger and pull it, and you'll have a knot. Okay? Okay, so as for how to start a stitch, we'll do it on this incredibly creased piece of scrap fabric that I have. So we're going to thread our needle again. This one's a bit frayed. If it's frayed, it's often better to just cut it and then you'll get an end that's not frayed. Again, you don't have to do this, but I loop it round twice. And then for the end of the fabric, put it on your index finger and hold it with your thumb. Loop it around once, roll it off your index finger and pull it with your middle finger, and that gives you a knot. Hope you can see that. So the way we start a stitch is we put it through the fabric until it hits the knot, and then we try and find almost the same spot to put it back through. Okay, so always do that before you start a stitch. Don't start stitching immediately. Always do the one loop through and then you can begin sewing. It's an important thing to know when we're actually sewing is which side is the good side and which side is the bad side. So when we're sewing, we want to put the knot onto the bad side. So let's say we're doing a hem here. A hem is where it's folded over like this. We would go in on the bad side of the hem that you're not going to see. So this would be the good side of the garment, this would be the bad side. But what you can also do when you're starting a stitch is go inside the hem for the first one, so that knot is completely hidden on both sides. But then when you go back through, you just have to go through twice to make sure that you've got that point on both sides. Okay, so that has now started our stitch and the knot is hidden inside the hem, so you're never going to see that again. So I'll just do one or two stitches just to move it along a bit, and then show you how to finish a stitch. So when we're finishing a stitch, what we want to do is we don't finish it from here where it's already running. We want to stop it at a point. So always go through it at that point, and then once you've stopped it at that point, leave a loop like this. So when you're pulling it through, don't pull it through the whole way. Go back through the same point. So if my sewing looks weird, it's because I'm trying to do it in front of the camera, where the camera can see. So go through at one point and then loop it through that at least twice. And then when you pull it, it will leave you a knot. So always do this knot on the bad side. Okay, and then cut it as close to the knot without actually cutting the knot as you can. And then that will be a finished stitch.